Sacred geometry is a geometry of consciousness. It involves universal patterns, and it is used to design everything in our reality. It goes hand in hand with mathematical ratios and harmonics. The most important of these sacred patterns can be found in many ancient cultures around the world, including Egypt, Turkey, Greece, and even through our local Royal Ontario Museum. This sacred pattern is called the flower of life, and it is known as the formula of our reality. In order to understand this pattern further, we must go into the story of Genesis. The Bible holds within it deep knowledge, and depending on your level of understanding, you will either get the real meaning or not. We will start this story off with nothingness, just simply spirit, surrounded by an infinite void. Then, the spirit expands its consciousness to have an area awareness 360 degrees around it. Genesis Book 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then the Spirit of God moved across the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light." Spirit creates a second circle of awareness on the boundary of the first, and from it comes the Vesica Piscis, which brings the geometric information about depth, proportion, and light. Now, Spirit moves again and repeats the process until 6 cycles are finished, and on the 7th day, God rested. The first complete image to be formed is the seed of life, also known as the Genesis pattern. If you complete 3 more full cycles of this pattern, you will now get the flower of life, which contains one of the most important signs in the universe. It is known as the fruit of life. It is called the fruit because of its result, the fruit from which the fabric of the details of our reality were created. It is one of the most sacred forms in the universe. When you draw a straight line between the center of every circle and every other circle, you will get Metatron's cube. This image contains the 5 platonic solids our reality is based upon. You may know this from basic geometry. This knowledge is where ancient alchemy originated from, giving each platonic solid an elemental aspect to them. Tetrahedron is considered fire, the cube is earth, the octahedron is air, the icosahedron is water, the dodecahedron is ether, and finally the sphere itself is voidness. And together these 6 elements create the building blocks to our universe. Ether is the universal energy that surrounds us and binds the universe together. It is the most sacred of the elemental forms that exist throughout all dimensions and can be accessed at any time. The common 4 physical elements, earth, water, air, and fire, are interconnected with the universe's 4 states of matter, which are solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. All these together create the physical world that we know it today. A question that people have always been asking is, how can infinity happen within a universal boundary? The most simple answer is, the seed contains all the potential information the seed will ever be. To give you an example, we will start with another circle that will enclose a certain volume. Please note that this example could be a sphere inside a 3D space, but we will leave it 2D to keep it simple. Inside the circle, we will now draw an equilateral triangle. Due to the universal law, as above so below, we must polarize the triangle to make it a hexagram. Now we will create 6 new circles, each with the exact same geometry that we started with except scaled down. Each new boundary has a very specific area in space-time and is experiencing its very own point of view that no other boundary has. After we polarize those, we will get the same result, but with even smaller boundaries. This same process will continue to infinity as long as we can keep zooming in. However, we would never escape the first initial boundary. This is the inner workings of the universe that all life is dependent upon. In reality, it is called the phi ratio, or golden ratio. A plus B is equal to the length of C. This ratio is 1.6180339 and continues forever. If you multiply the length of C with phi, it will create the exact same image, only bigger. C plus D is now equal to E. This is an infinite ratio that spans on. Everything in the nature of our world attempts to replicate this ratio. The seed contains all the potential information the seed will ever be, but because it must physically grow from a seed, it cannot start with the phi ratio. Instead, it is the Fibonacci sequence, which in nature starts off small and crude, but over time expands outward and becomes closer and closer to almost in the end replicating the phi ratio. This is in humans and animals. All of this knowledge is very powerful, yet it leaves even bigger questions, like what is empty space? Where are the other dimensions? And what is the universe beyond the physical form? If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Every object in its basic form is simply a vibrational frequency. Frequency equals one object over time. This means that it is the speed of the frequency's vibration that defines the object. If laid out, every shape and geometry can be found in these vibrational patterns, which ultimately is pure energy found in empty space. John 1, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Thank you.